Well, it is Wednesday. That means our plant and garden expert, Craig Hignite, is joining us in studio, taking your plant and garden questions through the Facebook Live on the WQ80 Facebook page. But I wanted to start, before we get into viewer questions, I know a lot of people are going to be getting flowers today, a lot of bouquets of flowers. How do we make them last longer than 3 days?
Okay, what you want to do is, of course, get the flowers in water as soon as possible. If they come prearranged, you're ahead of the game. But after a couple of 3 days, you're going to want to change the water and recut the stems, just taking about an inch off the bottom of the stem with a good sharp knife, using water that could be just slightly warm with some floral preservative in it. Then put the flowers back in and go through this maybe every 3 to 4 days, and they will last as long as possible.
Alrighty, and then let's start off the viewer questions, which is Robert, who asked, I have some milkweed seeds and was wondering the best way to start them.
Okay, milkweed, I would go ahead and at this point, if they haven't been in cold storage, they should be in the refrigerator for about the next month. And that's going to put us far enough out that if the ground is workable enough, plant them directly out in the garden. If you're starting them in the house, of course, it's the standard procedure. You go ahead and containers with drainage holes, a well-draining seed starting mix. Of course, they need bright light, and they would like temperatures around 71, 72 degrees to go ahead and germinate.
Same. All right, Laura is asking, when is it okay to split and move ornamental grasses?
Okay, we're going to not do anything with ornamental grasses until the lilacs are done blooming this spring. They are not, even though they might look like they're up and running, starting to grow, they really don't start working on their root system until after lilacs are done blooming.
And we have Gail, who said, what should we be doing outside to get ready for spring? Grub control, moles are overrunning my yard.
Well, you can go ahead and put down some Molmax now. There's little enough frost that I think outside the condo, I've seen some moles starting to run already. And, remember, you start up close to the house, treat an area, maybe 10, 15 feet out, water it in, let it work for a day or two, and just keep moving the moles out of your yard. Remember, this doesn't kill them. It just makes them somebody else's problem.
That's true. In my neighborhood, we have these raccoons that are, you would swear that somebody took like a bike tire pump and they're huge. Aww. Anyway, so there's that. Curdy, when can I cut my rose bush back to 6 inches?
Well, 6 inches is a little short. I would bring that up to about 10 inches. And we're going to do that usually around late April to Mother's Day.
Alrighty, well, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back to answer the rest of your questions. Welcome back. We're here with plant and garden expert Craig Hignite answering all of your questions on our Facebook Live. So if you're not there, go check it out. But where we left off with, I do believe Roberta.
We had Tim saying, I've heard saying
gotcha.
snow is a poor man's fertilizer. What's your opinion?
Snow? Well, remember, there's a lot of nitrogen in the air, and as it, and of course the snow is actually rain that has crystallized, and there's a little dab of solid material in there. So yes, as the snow comes down, it's bringing nutrients out of the air into the ground.
And Lori asks, is it too late to trim smoke bushes?
No, the ground is still frozen. We can go ahead and still do trimming. We're, mid-February? We've probably got about another month, I would guess, unless the weather just goes absolutely wacky in the next month, to get our winter pruning done.
Pam is wondering how soon you can put down grass seed, and do you need to put straw on it?
Grass seed can go down anytime, and yes, you always put some straw over it to protect it from the critters and keep it from drying out too much, but it'll germinate when the temperature finally gets warm enough.
And then we have, straw. Okay, we have Roberta now who says, how much eggshells should I add to raise garden?
Well, eggshells, unless you're making omelets for the whole neighborhood, I doubt if you're going to have too many. Just make sure that they're dried out well, mushed up, and then scatter them over the garden. I really doubt if you could get enough eggshells to really do damage to the garden. So eggshells are good in the garden.
Now, I've heard some people taking eggshells, putting them on like a cookie sheet and baking them to like dry them out. Was that something that you'd recommend?
Well, you know what is really good? Putting them in the back window of your car on a nice sunny day.
Well,
Your
I'm not
car's a
gonna do
great
that.
dehydrator.
Wouldn't that smell a little bad?
No, not if
Somebody
they're
gets in your
fresh.
car and be like, oh, were you making breakfast?
No.
Anyway, one viewer's asking, I have a rhododendron that has been steadily turning yellow. I'm worried I'm going to lose it. I read that these plants need magnesium. Is that true? If so, how do I do it?
Okay, rhododendrons this time of the year can look some shop worn. They tend to come down, collapse. And yes, they do need magnesium, and I would put that on in the form of Hollytone. This is a general acid fertilizer for anything like rhododendrons and evergreens. Remember that you should have a lot of mulch around that rhodie, so you're going to pull the mulch back, put your Hollytone down according to the directions on the label, and then put the mulch back over it.
We have Victoria who asks, I have a 3-foot fiddle leaf fig whose roots are now growing above the soil. Tell me everything I need to know about transplanting it to a larger pot. What soil mix, type of pot, when, etc.
Well, as far as the roots being at the surface, it's not uncommon. In nature, they make what we call buttress roots, roots that come out of the trunk to help hold the plant up in the ground. As far as repotting, don't do it until about Mother's Day or Memorial Day. You're going to choose a pot that's only about 2 to 3 inches larger. So you got 1 inch to 1.5 inches of fresh soil around the outside of the pot. A good, well-draining potting soil, a pot that drains well. They have to have good drainage, but I would hold off on all this until about Mother's Day to Memorial Day.
Fiddle leaf figs are so finicky, aren't they? Teresa, is that, I guess I'm the only one that thought so. Well, when should I trim burning bushes, and how much needs to get trimmed off?
Okay, burning bushes can be trimmed anytime now, never taking off more than 1/3 of the total height. So if you've got a big burning bush that's 6 feet tall, you could take off as much as 2 feet in any one year, but light trimming, you can do that anytime now. And even the heavy pruning, I like to see it done earlier rather than later, because you're cutting into hardwood and you got to give those buds a chance to break their dormancy this spring.
All right, we got 3 questions left, and we got 1 minute, so let's do a little bit of turbo here. Chad saying, when can I start flowers inside?
Wait until about mid to late April.
How soon can I plant a couple fruit trees since there is no frost on the ground?
It's not the frost, it's the muddy soil that we worry about. You've got to let the soil dry out just a little bit before you start digging and destroying the structure of the soil.
And will watering plants with a water softener hurt them?
Oh, Lord, yes. Water softeners don't have any less minerals. They've just exchanged the magnesium for sodium. That's like putting salt water on your plant. Not good.
All right, good job, guys. We did it.
Hey,
All
look
righty.
at that.
Well, be sure to join our Facebook Live with Craig each and every Wednesday. There you can submit your questions and be part of the conversation.